Hi friends, it's me Swastik, and today we're going to learn about variables in Python. This video is part of an absolute beginner series which you can watch by clicking here in the card. Let's begin. I'll open up the IDLE where I'll type the code, if I can spell ideally correctly. Okay, so what are variables? Variables are containers that store some values, and as the name suggests, it is derived from vary, which means that the value could change anytime during the execution of the code. So let me just show you an example here. I could set x to be equal to 6. So x is a variable. So this is how you define a variable. You put in the assignment operator, that's the equal to sign, after the name of the variable, and then you put in the value that you want to be assigned to that variable. If I print x now, it should give me 6. I'm expecting 6 and I get 6. That means I wrote the code correctly. Okay, now another thing I want to mention is that Python is a little different from other languages. Like in C++, you had to mention that the variable, you need to mention the data type of the variable. So you needed to do this to tell C++ that x was an integer. But in Python, you don't need to do that. Python can simply just change the variable name as well, variable data type as well. So if I can assign I can assign x a string, and it'll still work. And if I print x now, it would print my name, so without any errors or issues. So this is why Python is a little better. This is called dynamic typing. Okay, so let me show you how we can assign multiple variables. Well, if I do this, x, y, and z, and assign them 1, 2, and 3. Now if I print x, I'll get 1. If I print y, I get 2. And similarly, if I print z, I get 3. So this is how you can assign multiple variables to in a single line. Okay, so there are 3 components of a variable. Okay, the variable has 3 components. The first component is its identity. Its identity is where it is stored in the memory. Okay, so it is a 10-digit number. I'm pretty sure it's a 10-digit number. And the second component of a variable is the data type that it stores currently. So like if it was here, it would be storing an integer. Here it would be storing a string, and okay, it could be storing anything actually. So next, and the third type, the third component of a variable is its actual value. So this would be the value. So 6 is the value that is stored in x. So that would be the third component of a variable. So let me just show you some examples with variables. Okay, so another thing I want to mention is do not use double equal to signs. Means if just this would be actually checking, this would return back a boolean. Okay, so I was asking, is x equal to z? That means is x equal to z. So this is actually returning a boolean back. So boolean is a true or false result. If I just print that right now, as you can see, this in Python, double equal to signs means equal to sign, means if I'm asking for a boolean result. So if I print this here, I just left a space, extra space. That's a problem. Indentation in Python is very important. You need to pay careful attention to that. And now, as you can see, it's not equal because x is 1 and z is 3. So it returned back false. Okay, so as I was saying, another thing I want to mention, the rules for naming variables. A variable name must start with an alphabet, capital or small, that doesn't make a difference, or an underscore character. So it can only start with this or any other small letter, capital letter, doesn't matter. Okay, it cannot start with something like this, percentage sign, or maybe dollar sign, go set 244, invalid syntax. Okay, the next rule is that a variable name cannot contain spaces. So if you had something like batch id, if you want this to be, okay, id is actually a keyword in Python. Another thing, keywords, you do not assign keywords as variable names in Python, otherwise it's going to mess with the internal stuff. So you probably don't want to do that. Do not name, if Python highlights the things, so like while is a keyword, if Python highlights something, do not name that as a variable. Okay, that's another rule. That's the rule, you should know this. And like I was saying, a variable name cannot contain the spaces. So batch, if I just say batch number, if I can spell number correctly, so batch number cannot be a variable since it has a space in between it. I cannot store this. A better way of doing this would be batch underscore number. You'll be able to understand as well, and it'll be great. So as you can see, batch number, now it stores batch number because it's a proper ID, proper variable name. Okay, a variable name can contain any number of letters, digits, and underscore. No other characters apart from these are allowed. This means that it's pretty obvious, just what I told here. Only numbers, any number of letters, digits, and underscore. So only underscore is a special character that is allowed in the naming of a variable. And variable names are case sensitive. That means this. So if I just do dog capital would be, let's just show you this as well. So dog capital, I'll set it to 10, and small dog, set it to 6. If I print small dog here, I get back 6 here. And if I print dog, capital dog, I get back 10. Okay, so this shows you that the variable names are case sensitive. Okay, and the last thing is, you should always choose names for your variables that give an indication of what they are used for. Okay, in other words, the name should reflect its functionality. For example, a variable that holds a temperature might be called temp, and a variable that holds a car speed might be named speed instead of giving x and b. Okay, this is a PEP 8 kind of a rule. It's not important. I mean, it's not a, if we're not given invalid syntax, but let's just do this. Okay, let's just say if you're writing code and you have to store somewhere the location of a, the location of some place. Okay, sorry, I held shift for too long. Let's say you're storing some location in a variable. So it would be great if you just call it location or loc, and just stored it. You can store the coordinates here. Okay, but if you just name it something random like h equal to, you'll have a hard time finding out which variables mean what. Okay, because obviously you'll not know what they mean, and you'll have to write comments everywhere saying this is the location. Okay, so it's just better if you just name these variables like that. Okay, so let's just look at some variables examples. Okay, so the first example is to input two numbers and find their sum and product. So input, I just covered here. Input is just a function that just takes in the value from the user, and you can store it in a variable. So I'll just call it the number 1 could be the input, and you can ask the user to enter the first number. Okay, as you can see, it just asked me for the number here. I could just give it 44, and n2 could be, again, let me just use alt plus p, it'll help me, and n2 could be another number. I'll give 33, and I'll say n3 is going to be equal to the sum of the numbers, and n4 is going to be equal to the product of these numbers. Okay, so yeah, another thing, you need to see that whenever you take in an input, it is taking the input in forms of strings, so you need to make sure that they're ints. So you can put let me just use Alt plus P because that'll help me. Alt P, not Control P. Alt P, and here you need to put in integer around the whole thing, so it will convert the string into an integer. So n2 could be set to 44 again, and n1 here, let me just get that by doing this Control Alt P. N1 could be set to 33 again. So if I run the old code again, this time it should work properly. Yes, it works, no errors. That's great. So I just missed that. So n3 is going to be equal to the sum of these numbers, n2, and I've got them. So let me just print out both of them. If you want to learn more about print function, you can click here or watch the playlist. There's the function is there. So it's n2, n3 and n4. So the sum and the product, so 77, and the product is 1452. Okay, so this is how you can use variables in Python. I hope you liked the video. If you liked the video, click the like button and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell. And yeah, just do that. That'll be enough. And also comment below if you have any doubts, and I'll be sure to help you. Thanks for watching again, and goodbye.